amazing how the route setters do that. 6 people get 3 tops. They judge the level pretty well.
Yeah, it's definitely a very tough job for the route setters. I know some of the athletes weren't quite satisfied with the setting because the slab was all that mattered in semifinals. But of course, yeah, sometimes that's what counts. It was particularly a bad day for Nikolai Uschnig and Florian Klingler, 2 Austrian climbing stars who did not advance to finals. But Stefan Rest is back on stage like last week.
Yeah, exactly. Fresh out of high school and making finals every week. And got a tricky start on men's one. It's not a slab, but it's a technical boulder. Lots of different ways of starting. It might even be possible to start facing out. And then into this press position. Yeah,
there are always more ways. Of course, there are 4 tapes for the starting position, which means you need to have 2 hands and 2 feet on the gray volumes there, either right or left, no matter, but all 4 limbs have to go where these tapes are. In this case, 2 tapes for the left volume and 2 tapes for the right volume. That's the starting position. Then, of course, we have the zone hold and the most important hold, which is the top.
Yeah, it was a very entertaining semi earlier on, and as we said, the climbers with 3 tops made it through, and anyone with less than 3 tops didn't make it. Stefan being the 6th placed climber in the semi-final, so he is out first in the final. Nobody got boulder 4 done in the semi-final, so nobody actually managed to get 4 tops. I think the route setters were a little bit frustrated. They said there was a method that nobody found that actually made it pretty doable, but hey ho, we got a good show anyway, and we've got 6 finalists through, and no ties. Everyone's separated on attempts either to top or attempts to zone.
Yeah, and Stefan actually managed to climb in finals last week. As I said already, he finished in 6th position. He won the Austria Cup in bouldering in Klagenfurt in the juniors category and placed 9th at the European Youth Cup in Delft in bouldering in 2018. He's definitely satisfied with his semi-final performance.
Yeah,
tricky start, huh?
Yeah, and it was a good illustration in the semi-final of how crucial the start of the semi-final is. The slab was the first boulder up, and in the end, it was the one that counted. The 6 climbers who got the slab done are the 6 climbers we'll be watching tonight. So it just goes to show you've got to be concentrating from second number 1 at this level. Stefan Rest, as it stands, no significant progress, or certainly no zone, let alone top yet on boulder 1. As I say, you go into this tricky press, square them out left delicately, and then come back right. There's 2 pretty technical boulders to start, because up next on boulder 2 is the slabs. That's 2 technical ones and then 2 physical ones for the climbers this evening.
Does quite manage. He tried to change his feet there and put the left foot on the higher orange volume, which is definitely the way to go, but couldn't quite manage to get into that position.
Yeah, it's really tricky. You've got to exert a lot of force with the right hand, because that's basically what's keeping you on the wall, but also move your feet quite delicately, which even with my basic understanding of physics, is quite a tricky thing to do.
But now he managed to get the foot up high, which is definitely the way to go. But he calls it a day on boulder number 1.
Still looking up at it. Of course, the climbers have had observation, as they do in a World Cup, 2 minutes per boulder, and they observe them en masse, all look together and share or don't information. Kim Marschner out next, young German climber. Top 10 in both boulder and lead in the German Championships, which is no mean feat when you think about how many good climbers they've got.
Yeah, Kim is 22 years old and has already started in 20 World Cups so far. So he has quite some experience when it comes to world-class climbing. Takes his chalk bag with him, which is interesting. Some of the climbers don't do it. Kim
he's
obviously prefers.
Brought two, hasn't he? He's got his chalk bucket and his chalk bag.
And his chalk bag. Enough chalk, I would say.
And a different method of starting. As Anna said, it doesn't matter where you put your four limbs as long as they're spread out according to the number of pieces of tape. So he chooses to put both feet on the right, both hands on the left. As I say, the route test was saying you can start it facing out, but it might make the initial stand up not too bad, but it's actually harder to then turn around. But we might see someone try something really different.
Yeah, and Kim tries to crimp the edges of the volume. Might not be too comfortable with holding on to
It's
nothing.
a really strong start from him.
Does a good job though in getting into this position. Stefan had a hard time getting there. Come on now. The zone is a little bit better than the holds before. Yep, manages to stick it. Nice job.
So there's a couple more tricky moves out right. You get that orange volume there, and then your feet kind of involuntarily, so I'm told, swing out right and kick that grey and white volume. And then you're going for the top. And the top's pretty much a jug, but she's got that other hold on top of it to block it, so you can't launch for it. You've got to go in control. But it is a good hold.
Now he makes good use of his chalk bag. And as you can see, he really has to trust his feet now. These volumes are no good at all. Yep, that's theoretically the method. I think he understood that.
He's thinking about pulling straight back on, I think, but it really looked from his face like he was trying pretty hard. He might be advised to just take a little rest.
Yeah, sometimes it's worth to brush the holds and to rest, if only to reset your mind.
It looks one of those surprisingly tiring boulders.
Why is that surprising?
Well, it's not particularly steep. There's no really spectacular, powerful moves,
Yeah.
but you're just kind of squeezing for a minute.
That's true, but the problem is that all these athletes are world-class athletes. And yeah,
What are you
all
trying
these
to say?
boulders aren't easy. Come on, I mean. They'll be surprisingly fatigued tonight, I would say. Really does a good job in this lower section. Yeah, you can see that these holds are definitely no good. It's hard to hold on to volumes without any edge. There are no screw holds on. It's, yeah, only a volume.
And again, dual texture volumes. We've seen them a lot here over the course of this competition. The grey bit is good, the white bit is useless, so you're limited in where you can hold the volume, and including that starting volume as well. He's just a little too tired for another go, sadly. But made light work of it up to the zone.
Yeah, zone first attempt. Stuck the zone in the first try, which is good.
Out next will be Max Kleesattel, who looked super strong last week and finished 4th, and backed it up this week, finished 4th in the semi-finals.
Max is actually from the same area than Kim is, from Schwäbisch Gmünd. So I guess these two will train a lot together. And yeah, we'll see who will be climbing stronger tonight.
Yeah, German youngsters have been looking incredibly strong out throughout the last 2 days of competition.
Yep,
and last
that's
week
true.
as well.
Max is 1 year younger than Kim, 21 years old, and has started at 3 World Cups so far.
Just tried to do the foot swap quickly and fell in the process, but no trouble getting stood up.
Yeah, Max is giving the holds a good brush. That's really important, because as you walk around on the mats, of course, your shoes will always have a little bit of chalk, and yeah, so he tries to rub it off on his pants. Come on, Max. It looks tricky to get the foot up. I wonder whether this might be a problem for the not not that flexible, or for the climbers who are not as flexible.
So creeping out left again. This was the foot swap. Yeah, he tries to do it quickly again.
Yeah, just like Stefan, the first climber we saw, he has some troubles changing or swapping feet on this gray starting volume. Tricky boulder.
So Kim Marshner got the zone on his first attempt, so he'll be ahead of Max unless Max can find a top. 2 minutes to go. 4 minutes flat, of course.
And if you didn't watch any of the Austria Climbing Summer Series and you are watching right now and wondering why a German climber is climbing, the reason is that the Austrian Federation made a concept, and only Austrian athletes were at first supposed to start, but then the numbers were quite good in Germany and Switzerland, which are neighboring countries to Austria. So the Ministry of Sport decided that the Austrian Confederation could invite 4 athletes from Germany and 4 from Switzerland to this Austria Climbing Summer Series. That's why you'll see German and Swiss athletes alongside Austrian athletes on the mats. Of course, we would have loved to have the World Cup in Innsbruck, but due to the current situation, that wasn't possible.
There's lots of things we'd have loved to have done this year.
That's true.
They all got cancelled.
Yes, I believe that since China cancelled all World Cups for this year, I think these athletes are happy that they can actually compare themselves and compete at a certain level on right now this summer.
Well, it's great for us. We waited a long time for this, and it's great for the athletes.
Yeah, and it's, of course, it's a pity for all those who couldn't join. Yeah, we'll hope that... I saw that Akio posted that the Japanese Federation is trying to get a Japan Cup. Not 100% sure about that, but yeah, we'll see how many comps we'll actually get to watch this year.
Let's have a look at Max Kleersattel's final attempt. Hasn't probably got time to top the boulder, but he's got time to get the zone. Just 5 seconds now. He has to be quick. Can't quite manage it. Yeah, don't worry, by the way. There is more compaction to come. 3rd and the 6th of August, we're live in Imst, that most famous of lead climbing venues for the lead part of the Austria Climbing Summer Series. So a little more compaction coming your way.
Ooh, and now one of the big favorites is out on the mats.
Yes, Sasha Lehmann, World Cup winner in lead, World Cup finalist in boulder, true all-rounder, and looked a little bit rusty, I felt, last week, but not this week. Really looked back on form, looked strong in the qualifiers, looked strong again in the semi-final. Maybe needed last week just to remember how to do this competition thing.
Of course, he was still in finals last week. But I mean, you're right that the impression today in semi-finals, he looked so confident and 100% in comp mode. So I'm curious to see how he'll, or what kind of performance he'll show us tonight. Gives the boulder a brush after this first attempt.
Yeah, we've pointed it out. Sorry to point it out again if you've been watching us all along, but the climbers get their own brushes throughout the competition. There are no brushes. They have joined the ranks of the unemployed, sadly, brushes. It is now climbers doing their own brushing, and they keep the brush all the way through the round.
Yeah, this is
for coronavirus reasons. This
is just one of the restrictions. We also don't have any crowd. Charlie and I are sat in the back of the, not in the back of the wall, but we're looking at empty seats. We can only see the athletes that were climbing in qualification and semi-final. And then there's the climbers out on the mats, the judges, the route setters, the TV production, and that's about it. So less than 60 people or less than 70 people, let's say, in this hall.
Maximum. Hey, Sasha Lehmann's looking good here on this zone. This is a tricky move, and he's got the right idea.
Yeah, stuck the zone. second try.
So it'll put him into second place for now, even if he can't find a top. Kim Marshner got the zone first go.
But Sasha will definitely be looking at the top hold here. He knows the method now. That's a tricky first boulder. 1 minute 30 seconds left on the clock. Guess he'll be waiting a couple more seconds before he gives it another go.
By the way, if you're wondering what that is in the background, we're right by the railway arches here in Innsbruck, and that is a train going past.
Or the high jumping mat. Or how do you call it? Not high jump.
Pole vault.
Pole vault.
Yeah, we're in
you.
an athletics arena next to the Kletterzentrum, and there's all sorts of athletic stuff, including the pole vault, which is right in front of the stage. Apparently it couldn't be moved, so it's still there. The camera guy is doing a good job of filming around it. And Anna and I are sitting by the 20-meter mark of the long jump pit.
Yeah, the athletics hall is right behind the Kletterzentrum. And this wall, maybe you know this wall from the World Championship in Innsbruck that took place in 2018, 2 years ago already. Time flies, and maybe, Sasha will fly to the top, but no.
I thought he had it then.
That was a good try.
I think Sasha thought he had it.
Yeah, that's true. He has just enough time for one more final attempt. 20 seconds left on the clock.
I don't think that's time to climb such a precise boulder, but you never know. Time ticking away, 12 seconds now.
Come on, Sasha, you gotta be quick now. 10 seconds.
No, time is up. Frustration there. I could be wrong, but it looked like he thought he had it.
Yeah, it looked really good. It was an amazing try. Let's rewatch this extremely close try from Sasha Lehmann. Manages to get to the zone. Yep. With the toe hook moves, crosses over, which is a really nice idea, and now bam, has to go.
No, perhaps he didn't think he had it. In real time, it looked like he was there a little bit longer. Georg Palmer's out now, 13th here last week in part 1 of the Summer Series.
Georg just climbed his first 9A, a long-standing project for him, so he's definitely in good shape. He's from Lower Austria, but lives in Graz. Last year he was injured. He injured his wrist, but now he's back and highly motivated to show his best in this final of the second part of the Austrian Climbing Summer Series. Georg was 21st at the World Cup in bouldering in Wujiang last year and 17th at the World Championship in lead in Innsbruck in 2018.
Yeah, that injury came at a pretty bad time for a young climber. But he's back now and looking pretty handy on this boulder.
Yeah, it took the time to heal it and sticks the zone.
There's a lot of Georg Palmer to fit in that small gap.
Come on, Georg.
But he's managed to do it, and he's got himself out now.
Yep.
Completely different method, but he's got the foot out. Big cheer from the crowd. Could we be on for a first top? Oh!
No way!
He won't get much closer than that.
Oh, he's breaking my heart. How did he let go now? Oh, that is heartbreaking. But he has 1 minute 20 seconds left on the clock, so all he has to do right now is focus. Oh, he almost had it, and then his foot slipped, and he's back on the mat. I couldn't still believe it himself. Oh, that was too bad.
I did actually ask the setters, could you hand jam the top? Because it doesn't look that secure. But they said, no, it's good, it's good. But it doesn't look that good. He slipped out of it when he had one hand on it.
Yeah, the question always is, what is good? I mean, the route setters here are Martin Hammerer, who's the chief, Florian. We have Andreas Matuszka and Jörg Verhoeven, and these are strong climbers themselves. So if they say a hold is good, then I wouldn't quite say that it's as good as you would want it to be. But I still hope that Georg will be able to finish that boulder. He'd be the first one in this final round. Come on now.
Dabbed the hold. testing the limits of a controlled starting position, but judges seem happy enough.
Come on, Georg. This is a tricky foot swap. Oh, a lot of people had problems, and Georg does as well. Too bad. Luckily, I read the time wrong before. I told you he has 1 minute 20, which was not correct. Now we heard the 1 minute beep. So 1 minute to go for Georg. One last try to show us a top on boulder number 1. Come on, Georg. And of course it's frustrating because he knows that he can do it.
I think it must be really hard to get over that frustration on this kind of boulder as well, where you can't take your aggression out. You have to be really calm.
Yeah, you really have to focus. Wow. This foot swap is super technical.
He looks really solid on this section, so let's see if he can have another look at the top. 20 seconds to go. That's plenty of time for this move. Can Georg Palmer do it? It would be the first top of the boulder.
Now concentrate.
Yes, he can. Yeah. 10 seconds to spare and he gets it done. We actually cut away at the crucial moment. I had to look up at the wall, but he did do it.
And that, of course, puts him in a very nice spot at the beginning of this final. The first climber, yep, he's satisfied, to top boulder number 1. And there's only one man left.
Yes, Jakob Schubert makes his way out. He's won more World Cups than any of the other competitors in this final have even entered. Not to mention 3 World Championships and 3 World Cup seasons. No doubt who the favourite is, but the pressure's on now and he'll know that Georg Palmer topped.
Yeah, and he'll be pleased not to start out with a slab. I think he'll enjoy the boulder. Jakob has won 21 World Cups, 3 in bouldering, 18 in lead. Triple world champion. Qualified for the Olympics.
It's a good CV. It's a really good CV.
Definitely, yeah.
I give him that.
And that's not all. I mean, he also climbs a lot outside. He has climbed up to 9B plus Perfecto Mundo in Spain. And he's also climbed several 9Bs with Planta de Shiva or Fight or Flight.
I was about to say, he's not made a legal start, but he has now. Jakob clever enough to know that. Doesn't need me to tell him how to start the boulder. Did it a slightly awkward way.
Yeah, and he's struggling on this first part of the boulder. Gives it a proper brush. Jakob actually grew up in Innsbruck. He lives in Innsbruck still. He can bike here easily from his home. Shares a flat with Misha Bikolowatz.
Yes, 2 qualified Olympians.
Yep. There's also Alfons Dornauer in the same flat, another World Cup athlete. And Luki, all sharing a flat.
So where Jakob go? Yeah, it looks a really uncomfortable way to start.
Yeah, it's not easy getting your foot up. That's how he validates the starting position. Not the easiest method, maybe. Now comes the tricky foot swap on the gray volume. Come on, Jakob. Yeah, does it nicely this time. Come on now, man.
Tongue sticking out as he concentrates, trying to get that left foot out. He's definitely been put under a little bit of pressure here and clearly feeling a bit of pain somewhere. You think that could be the toes just from pushing down?
I think he's actually just annoyed by not climbing the boulder right away. But that's a speculation, I don't know. Of course, he knew that Georg did it right before him, so he knows that it's, yeah, he should be able to climb this boulder.
And also knows he'll be behind if he doesn't do it.
Yep.
He really likes his starting method.
Yeah, now he actually has the right starting position. Remember, 4 tapes for 4 limbs, 2 hands, 2 feet. And now he needs to get over that first part of the boulder. Once he sticks the zone, I believe that he could be the second one to top it, but he still has to get there. So far, no zone for Jakob. Kim, Sasha and Georg were able to reach the zone.
It's so awkward this, because as I say, you've got to press up with the hands. So that's pressing you down, but then simultaneously get the weight off your feet so that you can swap them over. Really,
come on, Jakob.
Not an easy thing to do, and the foot is slipping, and with 12 seconds to go, that will be it for Jakob. So it's Georg Palmer who leads the way so far, not even a zone for last week's winner and the favourite Jakob Schubert.
Yeah, so 3 climbers didn't get any zone. That is Stefan, Max and Jakob. Kim and Sasha got the zone on boulder number 1, and Georg was the only one to top this boulder. Comfortable place to be in for Georg.
And now we move on to another technical boulder. We're onto the right-hand side of the wall. The slab was really where the final was decided. All 6 climbers here climbed the slab in the semi-final, and no one else did. So, in theory, we've got the 6 slab experts here. But each slab is different. This one, yeah, very different from the one in the semi-final.
Yeah, also slab is not a slab. You could even have a jump in a slab. Sometimes. This one looks as if it's already hard to start.
Stefan Rest is back out now.
Stefan also brought a carpet to brush or to clean his shoes, which really makes sense on these slabs because you have to trust your feet 100%. And if your shoes are chalk, or if there are remains of chalk on your shoes, definitely hinders the ability to stand on those volumes. So it's clever to clean the shoes before giving it an attempt. Stefan was surprised about last week's final, actually. He didn't expect it. As we already mentioned, he just finished high school and didn't have as much time to train. And sometimes, you know, that's what helps, because a lot of people tend to train a lot, and it helps if you reduce the amount of training, because resting is crucial as well in climbing.
Certainly seems to be helping him, judging by the past 2 weeks. Couldn't quite find a way on that one. The next hold up from there is the zone, so no zone for him just yet. Very tenuous move, trying to get that left foot over. See their time ticking away, route setting team off to the right, just watching on, no pressure.
Yeah, of course, the route setters want to see a top on every boulder, but they also want to separate the finalists, so it's a tough job.
They got their wish on the first boulder, 1 top from Georg Palmer, nothing from Stefan Rest, who we're watching now, and he hasn't yet claimed a zone on this one either.
Yeah, time is ticking away. Come on, Stefan. Yep, start is fine. Now he really has to trust his feet, lean over, and get his foot ideally up on this tiny little screw hole that you can see where his right knee is. Yep, that's the way.
Yeah, you can barely look at it. Now
nice.
It's up to the zone. This looks pretty handy from Stefan. If he can get his foot on top of either volume, right or left, he's got it on top of the right. He stands a chance. It's not a great top hold though. You need to go in control.
Oh, no.
Could do with getting his left foot engaged, but doesn't need it. Finds the top. First climber out, tops the slab. Took a bit of work, but he got there.
Wow, good job by Stefan. He already showed us his slab skills in semifinals, and he is definitely a slab specialist. Nice work by Stefan. Matching that top hold. The zone might be okay, but that top hold is horrible. and you really trust your foot in order to match it. While he only grabs it with his thumb.
Yeah, it's dual texture hold again, only the underside is any good, so you can't squeeze it or anything, you've got to push up into it.
Yeah, nicely done by Stefan.
Fires him up the rankings, only the second person to top a boulder today. Kim Marshner, next climber out. One zone for him so far, so if he can top the boulder, he'll move into first place. He'll be the only climber as it stands with the top and 2 zones. And again, he'll be well aware the boulder's just been topped.
Yeah, so he knows that his job is to top the boulder as well. Lots of pressure for these climbers, lots of different psychological issues that come up during a final. Yeah, now you gotta go fast to the zone. Oh no.
I was about to say, I think you saw an advantage of being slightly shorter there.
Yeah.
It looks slightly easier to get his foot tucked in.
Yeah, but then he really has to go dynamically to this zone hold. Of course, you could go slow, but if you go fast, the zone should be good enough to stick it.
Yeah, the zone is, by international competition standards, not bad. We saw...
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, Charlie.
we saw Stefan Rest get it and look quite solid on it. Solid enough to kind of reset and figure out what to do with his feet.
And now the zone is the whole purple volume that you can see on your right-hand corner. If the tape would be only pointing to the screw hold, then it would only the screw hold would be valid. But since the whole volume has the tape on, it's okay even if you only touch the volume. But you're really aiming for the hold because the volume is no good at all. And he goes for the slow version. Nicely done.
Kim Marshner, you feel like you're living it with him. He's got his facial expressions are so clear. But you can see again, gets himself set up on the zone. And this last move, much as it's tenuous,
come on,
doesn't look too bad. But you can see he had the advantage of being shorter earlier on. Didn't look like it helped him at the top, but it matters not. So another top. So both the first climbers out finding a top. I suspect the way to separate yourself on this boulder is to do it first go. Both climbers requiring a couple of attempts. Well, Stefan required 6 attempts.
Yeah, Kim did it in the second attempt, and he decided to palm the top hold. I don't know if you saw it, but Stefan used his 2 thumbs to get the top, whereas Kim used his palm with one hand and then touched it with the second hand. So always various versions. Let's see what Max can show us in this tricky slab boulder. And he knows that his teammates, Kim just topped it. Not quite. That's a balanced start.
Kim Marshner, first German out, topped it. Now it's Max Kleesattel's time to shine.
Come on, Max. Yep. Correct starting position. Come on now. Now he has to lean over towards the right volume, then change his feet on the lower volume and get his left foot on the tiny little screw hold.
You can see the climbers struggling to look down. Their left arm's in the way.
Yeah.
They don't want to put their head out to look because it'll shift their center of gravity. It looks absolutely desperate. He's doing it by feel, basically.
And this tiny little screw is also a dual texture, so there's not a lot of texture.
It would be bad if you could use all of it, but you can only use half of it.
Yeah. Will he use the palm or the thumb on this top hold?
Yeah, Max, again, one of the shorter climbers.
Oh, come on.
Oh, somehow managed to hold it.
Yep.
So one palm on the right hand and a thumb on the left hand is enough for Max Kleesattel. So the slab falling to everyone so far.
And we're down Yeah, he uses the same method as Kim. Just before him, opts for the palm and then the thumb to change hands. Good job from Max on boulder number 2.
Sasha Lehmann, the 4th climber out.
Back to the top 3 from semifinals.
Yeah. Of course, the order doesn't change in a boulder final, so Stefan Rest will be the first climber out onto every boulder, and Jakob Schubert will be the last climber out.
He already won the World Cup in VR last year.
Yeah, which sadly has been cancelled for this year, along with most of the other World Cups, but I enjoy VR.
Yeah, and China just announced that they will cancel all the IFC World Cups this year, which is, of course, a bummer. But according to the situation, yeah, no big surprise maybe. And Sasha is struggling on this first part of the slab. Chalking up again. He is 22 years old, lives in Burgdorf, close to Bern. And also just climbed the 9A in Raül, climbing area of Switzerland. That climb was actually established by Swiss strongman Cédric Lachard. Maybe some of you know him. He was a World Cup winner as well. And now Sasha is on the zone in a quite comfortable position. Will he manage to press?
He did that move quite an unusual way. Left his right hand down, then swung his right hand out past it, but it worked. And he's got one thumb, and he's got the other finger. Whoa, actually slipped, I think, as he fell off the boulder, Sasha. I'm not sure he could have stayed there for forever.
Yep, and he decides to match this hold with the thumb and the hand. Ha, good job. We can see the fist of success.
Georg Palmer can take the lead. I mean, the win is actually in Georg Palmer's hands. If he just does what everyone else does from here on out, he's going to win. But
yeah, we're far from deciding
lead.
The winner here, but we're on boulder number 2, and Georg is the only one who climbed boulder number 1, and he is one of the slab experts, I would say. He's definitely one who enjoys slab climbing, and yeah, he knows that the other climbers have topped this boulder, and that's what he wants to do as well.
So rocks on. He'll know the boulder's been topped lots of times, so attempts are clearly going to be the separator on this boulder. So I think quite sensibly doesn't rush.
Yeah, it really takes his time. Wow. Ha. Other climbers used their foot on the right-hand side, but they were all smaller. Georg is one of the, or the tallest climber in this final. So therefore he has to use different methods.
It was good actually to see a close-up of that hold. It's terrible.
Yep, it's a tiny dual texture screw hold.
Ooh.
And you have to trust your feet 100% on this slab.
So nobody has yet flashed this boulder. Stefan Rest got it on his 6th attempt, and 2nd attempt from the other 3 climbers who've topped it. Just over half the time remaining for Georg.
Come on, Georg.
So
does he go straight to the zone?
Yeah, I think he's considering it.
He's definitely thinking about it.
It is a pretty good hold, but,
yeah,
it's a long way.
Yep, Definitely better to put your foot on the tiny screw hold. Come on, Georg.
You can see it's really fun to watch. The climbers have to get their left arm out of the way so they can see where to put their foot. And speaking of the left arm, it's just a little short there
I
on
thought
the zone.
Almost had the zone there. Gives the boulder another good brush. Yeah, it's really hard not to rush it on a slab, especially if time's ticking away. He has 1 minute to go, 1 minute 5 seconds. Come on, Georg, you can do it. Will he be able to stick the zone? Everyone who stuck the zone topped the boulder so far.
Yeah, the top section doesn't look nearly as hard. This move here really looks to be the crux. And this time he finds it. 40 seconds to go, plenty of time. So he can just take it slowly, get the feet sorted out, find a position he likes. And being a bit taller, much as it might have hindered him lower down, should help him a little bit here. You can get that bit closer to the top hole, press underneath it, and he finds a second top. So Georg Palmer will go on to boulder 3 in the lead.
Yeah, that was important for him now, obviously. He has now climbed 2 boulders and is leading the pack.
Yeah, Jakob Schubert cannot catch him. In fact, yeah, Jakob, the best he can do actually is move up into 3rd, even if he flashes this boulder, because he didn't get anything out of the first boulder. So Jakob out on the mats, ready to get stuck in.
Yeah, the pressure's on for Jakob because he knows all the other climbers top the boulder. He's not especially excited about the slabs in general. So, yeah, kind of tricky for him now. But I am sure he'll be dealing with this kind of pressure as he's dealt with different kinds of pressure over the years. He is a very experienced climber.
Quite amazing, really. So much success and yet still so motivated.
29 years old and 100% professional. Yeah, I have never seen him not motivated for comps, I have to admit. Usually Jakob's definitely psyched to have a good battle. He is on the slab right now. I'm not 100% sure whether you can still see something. We cannot on our screen at least. Now we're back as Jakob is leaning towards this purple volume. He has to trust his feet on the zone. Perfect.
So safely up to the zone for Jakob. Should bring it home from here. Again, chooses that method where he leaves the palm down, swings the right leg past it. And gets stood up, 1 palm on the top, 2 palms on the top. Jakob on the board after a bad start on number 1. Let's have another look at this method. You see, leaves the right hand down, right foot out.
Yeah, 2 tries from Jakob. So nobody managed to flash the slab, but Kim, Max, Sasha and Jakob climbed the slab. Second try. Georg needed 3 attempts and Stefan 6. And now we're moving over to the left-hand side of this wall, the steepest part of the wall.
Yeah, we've had 2 very technical boulders, albeit quite tiring in the case of number 1, but we're very much onto the physical boulders now. Really burly one, this. Hard first move, hard second move, swing out. The last move doesn't look easy either.
Yeah, and the men didn't have a lot of rest in between because a lot of people climbed the boulder second try, the slab, so the rest wasn't huge. And now they'll need all they've got.
That is the way to do that move as well. Ideally, if you can control your feet a little bit more, though, it'll help you out.
And Stefan is using some liquid chalk. Liquid chalk helps you dry out your skin a little bit more than normal chalk, so it's usually a good idea. Compared to last week, the temperature is a lot better today, I would say.
Yes, yeah, it was really hot last week, but this week, pretty chilly outside, actually. Been a damp day here in Innsbruck, and the temperature's pretty good for climbing in here. Maybe a little warmer than you would ideally like, but certainly cooler than last week. Now you can see, again, not an easy start position, holding those two crimps, and then you've got a big jump here.
Trying the heel hook, wow, and it works. I mean, this hold that he just heel hooked on is super tiny. I'm surprised that that heel hook worked out.
Yeah,
he must be good at heel hooks, Stefan.
Well, his feet really cut loose on the first attempt,
Yep.
so.
But I think it's definitely, it saves some power if you're able to stick the heel hook. When it comes to heel hooks, I always have to think of Domen Skofic from Slovenia, who uses a lot of heel hooks all the time, or Magdalena Röck from Austria. Some heel hook experts out there in the climbing scene. And Stefan seems to be one of them. Will he try it again?
He's looking for it.
Definitely does. I think he had a good feeling on that hook. Wow, it makes it work.
Yeah, now
nice job.
Really underway, but that's a hard position to hold if the feet do cut loose. Stefan Rest doing really well here. The whole blue volume that he went for then is the zone, not one specific hold. And I was about to say he won't have enough time, but he's actually got 1 minute 10 left, not 10 seconds.
And this is not the method that the route setters actually intended, but there are always multiple ways to solve a boulder problem. And Stefan is definitely trying the heel hook version of the climb. One good go to go.
So he's trying the heel hook again. And I think that last attempt was probably the one. Yeah. 25 seconds to go. He might have another go. I'll be impressed if he can stick this move to the zone. He won't have time to top the boulder, I wouldn't imagine. Climber's really testing the limits of a controlled starting position, I have to say.
Yeah, that's true. Not enough.
Not this time.
Not enough time, power and skin, I believe, to solve boulder number 3.
Kim Marshner out next, actually currently sitting in second place. He's got both zones so far and the top. You can see it there, trails Georg Palmer. What can he find on this one?
Yeah, Georg in front of Kim, Sascha, Jakob, Max and Stefan as it stands now. Kim also gives it a proper brush.
It's been a fun climber to watch. As I say, you feel like you're on there with him.
Yeah, we've got really nice camera angles, I would say.
Yeah, this crane camera's great. Need to invest in one of these.
He's opting for the dynamic version, and he uses the toe hook, which is the right method if you ask the route setters. Come on, Kim. Almost.
Wow, no lack of effort. Immediately takes a look at the pads on his right hand. Skin will certainly be becoming an issue after 5 boulders in qualifying, 4 in the semis, and well, we're on the 3rd one this evening.
Yeah, all these holds are brand new, and usually it's really tough on your skin.
It's like sandpaper.
But Kim really powered through that first section of the boulder. looked super solid. And yeah, maybe he'll be able to show us the first top on boulder number 3.
Just over half his time remaining. Presumably we'll go for a similar method. He was strong enough to do it without much input from the feet.
Yeah, and I don't think that he realized that there is a heel hook, and then you have to make the heel hook stick, which is not easy. So he's going for the other method now with the heel hook on his right right foot. He's one of the shorter climbers today. I'm not even sure if a heel hook will be good for him in order to reach that next zone.
Yeah, you can see, this is what I was saying earlier, the whole of that blue volume is the zone. It's not, so if you get any of the holds on it, you've got the zone. It's quite unusual we see a volume being the zone and it's got multiple holds on it.
So Kim actually held the zone in his previous attempt.
Yeah, I guess so.
I believe he did.
He got a good hand on it. He's not been awarded it on our scores yet, but that's not to say he doesn't have it. Suddenly looking a bit tired now with a minute to go.
Yeah, and he only has a minute left, so he can't really rest. He'll have to give it another go shortly.
And he'll know he's got a pretty physical challenge coming up on number 4 as well, so still a lot of hard climbing to go for Kim.
Although in finals, usually you have enough time in between boulders to rest long enough. In semis, that's a different story. You only have 5 minutes. Come on now. Ah! And he's going again. Wow, this man got power. Come on, Kim.
Just a little short and a little frustrated, I think. So Kim Marshner heads backstage, gets a round of applause from the small number of people that were allowed in.
Didn't get the zone, apparently, on boulder number 3.
Here comes Max Clearsattel. 4th last time out in the Austria Climbing Summer Series.
He's also a very powerful climber.
He'll need to be.
He climbed superbly last week on that same angle. That, of course, a different boulder problem, but I believe he really likes the steep terrain. I'm not sure if he likes the tiny crimps that he has to work through.
No, we will soon find out.
Come on, Max. The orange hold is okay, but the crimp he's going to is
it's horrible.
Not good at all. Come on,
These are the sushi holds from last week, aren't they?
Yeah, you're right.
The Magoro's the pink one. They're just missing the Ebi.
Missing the Japanese World Cups, are you?
Fortunately, it's a good one in Innsbruck, so I indulge myself. Might go tonight.
Yeah, but nothing compares to sushi in Japan. Okay, from sushi we're back to Max Clearsattel. Come on now. Powerful start. He has to get over to that right hand crimp and now ideally swing the feet. Yep, that's what he does. Toe hook. A toe hook would be good.
No, just chooses to push.
But can't quite stick it. If you have the toe hook, of course, it's harder to get, to pull off. But then it's easier to hold once you're at the height of the hold up there, because the toe hook kind of squeezes you into the position.
And I guess if you're pushing with your right foot, as you come towards it, it kind of pushes you off.
That's the problem. It's not easy to stick that hold if you don't have a toe hook. Of course, if you have a ton of power, then you can probably still do it without the toe hook. But the easier version is definitely with the toe hook on the right-hand side on the big pink volume that Max is staring at right now. He was our finalist last week as well. He's back in finals, placed 4th at the first part of the Austrian Climbing Summer Series.
Yeah, 4 of the finalists the same actually. Max, Stefan Rest, Sascha Lehmann and Jakob Schubert, Georg Palmer and Kim Marschner, who are the new finalists this week.
Yeah. He placed 4th at the German Championship in bouldering last year. And of course that's a strong statement, because Jan Hoyer, Alex Megos, Yannick Floe, all of these strong men were there as well. They're missing out tonight, but we're glad that Max is here to join us in this final.
Let's go.
Pulls back on again. Oh, I just missed that. Never quite got set up right. 40 seconds left.
It would still be enough time, but is there enough power in Max Kleesattel and enough finger strength to hold these tiny crimps that he has to hold without feet? Nah, not this time.
So no tops so far, no zones so far. This boulder causing all sorts of problems. Sascha Lehmann will be next out. We've still got Georg Palmer, who's leading the way, and Jakob Schubert still to come as well. But halfway through boulder 3 and nobody has made much progress.
Yeah, but Sascha is another strong man. I think he will enjoy this powerful boulder on tiny little crimps without good feet. Come on, Sascha.
So gets in position, it fires out to the pinch. Got to be careful, your feet don't touch down.
Not using any feet on this crucial cross move. Oh my God, he has, come on. Get the zone, yep.
Oh,
First
this
one
is
to
strong
stick it.
stuff from Sascha Lehmann. Latch the zone. Needs to bump across to that orange hole, and then there's only one more move to go. Slaps and finds a sweet spot of that round orange hole. Now you've got a mantle on top of this thing, which after the moves he's done is probably the last thing you want to do. But he's somehow got to get his hands underneath him, press on top of it, and go for the top. Sascha Lehmann looking good for a flash of the as yet untopped boulder 3, and his hand creeps round to the top, but he can't make it work. It looks absolutely exhausting, this boulder.
Yeah, I wonder whether he should have gone up with the left hand. Crossing over looks extremely hard. Bah. If only he could get his left hand up, that might be a better version. Oh, that's always so much easier to say from down here. Very good effort from Sascha, powering through this first part of the boulder and almost getting the top of boulder number 3.
Oh, that was a bit of a heartbreaker, to be honest. He gave everything to that boulder. There was a couple of moves that you could tell were at the limit, the move up to the zone.
It's just as heartbreaking as the fall on a Georg Palmer on problem number 1. Luckily he did it after that fall, so maybe Sascha will follow and do it as well.
Sascha, I have to say, looks a little more tired, and he looks pretty fed up as well.
Yeah, but sometimes that's the little bit of aggression that you need to top a boulder. Sometimes it helps to be a little angry at yourself. And it's definitely a good idea to rest for as long as you can before one final go on this powerful boulder. And sometimes 2 tries are all you have to make, because if he would not rest and give it a lot of tries, that would just tire him and he might run out the power. He already knows the method, he knows what to do. Why not rest until the last minute beep that we heard right now?
That is the beep to signify 1 minute to go. Sascha Lehmann is back on. He knows he can do these moves, but can he do them twice?
He's definitely been compassing a lot, Sascha. Did that move in an excellent way.
Every bit of effort going into this. Now he needs to match that terrible crimp. You can see elbows sticking out. He's definitely getting tired, but he can reset slightly on this big orange hold. It's a change of style. He's been from crimps, he's now hugging that thing. Will he bother trying to get the feet up, or will he try and get one hand first? He goes for the hand first. This time it's the left, but the outcome is the same.
That's heartbreaking. I mean, he was almost there. He was even like getting the left hand up. I'm so sorry, Sasha. You should have. You should have deserved it.
This was the first attempt, or was it the second? I think he went with the right hand first time, yes. So that was the first one. And then
almost had it, but it's dual texture again, Charlie. So where he had it, you really got to grab it around the lip, above the lip. Everything else is no good at all.
Becomes the first climber with 3 zones, though, and that could be crucial.
Yeah, and a really good effort by Sasha. Wow, that was a total,
Now here's a man who's in a good position, Georg Palmer, currently leading.
Could be the first to top 3 boulders. Not sure if it's 100% his style. Please prove me wrong, Georg. I'd love to see a top on boulder number 3. Come on. Only Stefan Rest used the heel hook on the left starting hold so far. And that just goes to show that this heel hook is not an obvious one and not a good one at all.
No, nobody else seems to... Maybe it's not something they spotted in observation because nobody else has even looked at it. I think it might have been something Stefan just found.
Yeah, it's definitely not obvious. And usually in observation you go through the boulder with your buddies. And you point out everything you see because you want them to point out everything they see. So teamwork.
So Georg Palmer getting set again. Big move up now. It's a little crimp. This time he latches it. Looks pretty touch and go. Goes out again with the right hand. Toe hook in place. Decides actually not to use it. I just thought it was just going to hang on. His little finger wasn't actually on the hole. He didn't hit it perfectly.
The toe hook would definitely help. As I said before, I'm sure you can do it without the toe hook, but it saves some power.
Yeah, if that's a cut, you'll have to tape it. They've been really on top of people taping cuts.
Yeah, and especially if the crimps are small and your finger is taped, then you don't have the best friction. You can also feel it on the big volumes, but on crimps I find it especially
Oh, that's a horrible
tricky.
hold. Oof.
Yeah, a tiny little squadra chip. Not a good hold at all.
They've also put a blocker hold underneath so you can't pinch the volume. Oh, definitely more fun to watch this boulder than climb it, I think.
I would love to try, but it's Georg's turn, of course. And he also, just like Sasha.
You show him how it's done afterwards.
No way. Last minute beep, and just like Sasha, he takes a good look at the boulder, takes his time, which is a very smart move because it is a tiring and powerful boulder. Come on, Georg. Georg.
Really struggling, I think, with a bit of skin maybe, or I don't think it's a finger injury, a pulley, but something not right on the left hand.
Too bad, he calls it a day on boulder number 3.
So it is left to Jakob Schubert to find a way.
Yeah, no top so far on boulder number 3. Georg still leading the pack though.
So Jakob can put himself into the lead here if he gets this done. Georg Palmer needed to do it to guarantee the lead going into the final boulder. If Jakob does it, Within 4 attempts, he will move into the lead.
And I think Jakob will like this boulder. It's powerful. You have to hold on to tiny crimps. You don't have good feet. I believe that that's all what Jakob is looking for, actually.
If it's a boulder where you've got to fight, I always think Jakob can do it.
Yep, that's true. Come on, Jökull. Ale. Yep.
Looking very strong through the lower section.
Toe hook? Looks at the toe hook, tries a heel hook, but no, yeah, easy. Goes for the toe hook and already has the zone.
Really looking strong on this boulder, Jakob. Could be about to stamp his authority on this final. Now just needs to mantle up and then slowly creep a hand up. The way, from what we've seen so far, it's actually a bit easier if you don't bother getting your foot involved. Just try and free up a hand.
Just trying to move his foot up onto that pink crimp. Is he going for a different way now? Oh, that's an interesting method. Trying to mantle that tiny little crimp. What?
So I'm not sure what he's pushing on with his left hand, but it seems to be getting him up. If he could just get his right foot underneath him, he might be able to do it.
I'm sorry, but that's not the way. I think he really has to go. He has to mantle from this orange big bulb.
Can't help thinking this might be it for Jakob as well, because it's so tiring. Already used half his time.
Yeah, but remember, this man climbed 9B+, so I think he can stay on the wall for quite a bit.
Yeah, true.
Quite some time. Come on, Jakob.
Squeezing that volume. Heel engaged. This looks pretty promising for Jakob.
Really promising.
Oh, the heel pops just as he goes up. What do you think to not using the foot? I mean, if the hand is good enough, do you think you could just reach through?
The problem is that that's what Sasha tried.
Yeah.
And it wasn't good enough for him. I think you really want to have that foot in order to establish yourself in a position that you can actually hold the top. Sasha tried without the feet and it didn't work out. So I think it would be better to use it, but of course there are always multiple versions.
See Jakob breathing heavily.
Yeah, he spent quite some time, huh?
Yeah, well over a minute.
But I'm sure he can do it again. It's a good idea to rest until 40 seconds on the clock. He doesn't need much time to do the boulder.
I mean, in a lead final, you get 6 minutes and you never let go, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Powers of recovery should be good enough.
Yeah, and he goes back with 45 seconds left on the clock. Definitely enough time to finish the boulder.
Not planning on spending much time up there, I think. I guess he's made a decision about how he wants to do it.
He crimps hard and still has enough power. Come on, Jakob.
See, the bottom section of the boulder's not tiring him out that much compared to most of the other climbers.
Will he use the heel hook again or not?
Yes, he's going to use it, but will it stay?
Come on, you can do it. Ah!
The hand just needs to go 15. Another few centimeters higher, and it's not going to. Jakob Schubert can't quite do it. The boulder does not get top, provided plenty of entertainment though.
Yeah, super interesting final. Good job by the route setters. Wow, and Jakob and Sasha were actually super close on boulder number 3. They could have both topped it in my opinion, but it was not to be.
Jakob made the lower section look easier, but then I think Sasha was probably the closest to actually managing the final move.
Yeah, you're right. Sasha was a little bit further. He was almost at the lip, whereas Jakob was only able to touch the lower part of that pink top hold. Too bad we didn't see a top on boulder number 3.
Yeah, so Stefan Rest in a good position here, can really move himself up the order, could move into second with a top. Really funky looking start here, and then a big jump, and the route setters were saying they hope no one can stop on that red volume. They wanted them to carry on to the zone, but he has stopped and he's made pretty light work of this. Now if this boulder goes down easily, you'd think that's good news for Georg Palmer because he's leading the way. But let's see what Stefan Rest can do. He can't quite turn that good start into a top. Yeah, I was just saying, this could be good for Georg Palmer because he's leading the way, and if everyone does the boulder quickly, then he will stay leading the way. He is a top clear of anyone else. He's got 2 and no one else has got more than 1.
Yeah.
So regardless of
I'm
attempts...
disappointed we didn't see a top on boulder number 3.
Yeah, me too. But
That's
if
a bummer.
If Georg can find a way, then to top the boulder, attempts won't matter, he'll win the competition. So he's put himself in a really strong position.
Yeah, so every top now is crucial, also for Stefan. Would be really important to get a top hold, and he was already looking at it on his prior attempt.
He flew through the lower section, he did the jump the way that it's said to be harder, which is where you stop on the red volume. It didn't look too hard. And then went up to the zone, no problem, across to the red volume, and just couldn't quite find a way to convert from there.
Can he do it again? Come on,
Here he
Stefan.
goes again on the jump.
Yeah,
stopping,
nicely done.
no problem.
Excellent work by Stefan Rest so far.
Tiny little black screw on hole, but not much else on that red volume. Here he goes, you can see the top beckoning, but can he free up his right hand? He's almost managed to do the hand swap.
Really close by Stefan.
Das Finale hier der Summer Series steht fest.
Yeah, matching this tiny little screw on is super tough. Almost manages to get it, but can't quite turn it around the right way. Barney looks a little fatigued.
He's got time for another go. And I don't think the lower section is tiring him too much. Guess he'll leave the ground with 40 seconds to go, 30.
Yeah, and you can see the officials wearing masks. One of the restrictions or safety requirements today.
Auf geht's.
And Stefan goes again. Yeah, wow, he does the jump super easy.
So plenty of time to really figure out what he wants to do with this hole. Presumably we'll have to execute a hand swap at some stage or just go straight for the top.
Not quite.
Looks over at the clock, less than 30 seconds to go. It could be done.
Definitely could be done. He has 2 zones so far, but a top would obviously move him in a good position in this final of the Austrian Climbing Summer Series, part 2. Come on, Stefan, this is what counts. 8 seconds on the clock. 5, 4, 3, no. Ah! He was close multiple times.
Very close. Good attempt. Gets a round of applause from the people in the arena, which is basically people involved in the competition, but they appreciated the effort. And ends up with 1 top and 2 zones. Kim Marshner will be out next, currently in 4th place. As you could see, he could fire up the order, could actually go into 1st place. He'd have 2 tops and 3 zones if he found a way to do this boulder.
Inzwischen 4 für Kim Marshner. Völlig gleich auf mit Joachim Schubert.
Yeah, he was looking strong throughout the competition. Didn't quite like boulder number 3. Climbed, looked strong on the slab though, and did boulder number 2 in 2 tries. Maybe he enjoys this last bit of the puzzle that was set by the route setting team around Martin Hammerer, Florian Murnig, Andi Matuschka and Joch Verhoeven.
Auf geht's. Auf geht's.
Come on, Kim.
And what will he do with the jump? Will he stop? Will he carry on? Tries to carry on. Stopping looks easier.
Yes, it does, I have to say. Also, it always depends on your body type. Kim is definitely one of the smallest climbers tonight, so maybe for him it's not the best option to move to the zone directly, whereas Georg is one of the tallest or the tallest climber tonight. He could maybe go straight to the zone. But for Kim, in my opinion, it looks better to stop at the red volume, just like Stefan did. Yeah, but you can always prove me wrong, obviously. Come on.
Here he goes.
Come on, Kim.
Jumps and carries on, but makes it work.
Nice one. That looked beautiful by Kim. Nice.
Pretty
move.
close to the limit.
Yeah, now we want to see a top from Kim Marschner. Come on now, you got this, man. Ale, ale. The top hold is kind of okay. You got to turn your hand, though.
Have to commit out to the right. Only got three fingers on it. Will that be enough? Yes, it will. Kim Marschner finds a way. That moves him into first place.
Good job. 2 tops in 4 tries.
2 tops and 3 zones. It's only the second climber to get 2 tops. And he moves up into first place.
Yeah, 2 tops, 3 zones, and 4 attempts for those 2 tops. But really tried hard now. Beautiful camera angle. Top holds decent, but not huge. You can't jump towards it. Yeah, and there's the clap of success from from Kim Marschner.
So Max Kleesattel and Stefan Rest now not able to win the competition. Even if Max does this, he won't be able to match the 2 tops and 3 zones.
Max can overtake Stefan Rest, though.
Auf geht's, Max. Auf geht's.
Come on, Max.
Tried to go up again. I wonder if the German team read it together, perhaps. I don't know, but
Yeah,
both
they definitely did.
seem to have gone up.
Usually you always look at the boulder with your teammates or someone who speaks the same language. As there are only German, Swiss and Austrian athletes right now. They all speak the same language because Sasha is from the German part of Switzerland. So I guess they checked it out together. Come on, Max.
Oh, a different method altogether.
Nice, uses the volume. Looked very solid. Can he follow his teammate and top this boulder number 4?
This will move him up into second place for now. It doesn't seem trouble at all. Pretty easy top for Max Kleesattel, it would seem. Moves him into second. It's Germany 1 and 2 right now.
Nice job, Max. Smiles. I think he's happy with that top. In the second try. Just like him.
Yep, second try. Both of them topped once they got the zone. Out comes Sasha Lehmann. Now he can move himself up into
first place.
First place, yes.
He can be the first one to have 4 zones.
I think Sasha can do this boulder for sure.
I am 100% sure.
But does he figure it out in time?
Definitely do it. And that would secure him a place on the podium of tonight's Summer Series. He has qualified in 3rd place from the semi-final. Sits in 4th position right now, but if he tops this boulder, he'd be the first one to have 4 zones.
So Sasha now moving out right, decided to stop on the red volume, had no trouble then going up to the zone. Needs to get his body over to the right so that he can creep a hand out and go to the top. Looking very solid so far, and that is a flash from Sasha.
And that means this man is on the podium tonight.
So things are getting really tight now.
It will be extremely tight. Although if Georg manages to climb the boulder, he's the winner of tonight's finals.
Yes.
As he's the only one to climb 2.
Yes, so Sasha Lehmann, as you rightly say, guaranteed his place on the podium. And Jakob Schubert now can't win, because even if he tops, he would have 2 tops and 3 zones, which would be less than Sasha's 4. So it's a battle, straight up battle now between Georg Palmer, who we're watching, and Sascha Lehmann. Jakob's not going to make it 2 out of 2. Of course, still a lead to come, and he might fancy his chances there, but he's not going to manage it in the boulder.
Yeah.
Max Kleesattel just walked back out into the arena, looks pretty happy. Fist bump with Urs Stucker, the German coach.
Will it be Sascha Lehmann or Georg Palmer? We will find out in the next 4 minutes.
Even less, yeah. He actually used an awful lot of time just pondering Georg Palmer. Attempts don't matter. If he tops the boulder, he wins.
Too much rotation, could not quite hold the swing on this red volume. I think he knows that, yeah, now it's about victory here at the Austria Climbing Summer Series Part 2. Pressure's on for Georg Palmer. Will Georg win, or will we have the first Swiss victory in this Austria Climbing Summer Series? Oh, I can feel the pressure. I am nervous. Are you, Charlie?
Of course I am. Of course. Georg Palmer now embarking on attempt number 2. It doesn't matter about attempts.
No, he just has to climb the boulder. But it's not a justice. This is no easy.
He stops on the red volume, goes up to the zone.
Come on, Georg.
Now should be able to reach the top hold a little bit easier than some climbers. Can he use his height to his advantage now? This is for the win in the Summer Series Part 2 from Georg Palmer, and he just got himself a little too far out from the wall. He was pressed in nice and safe, and he just reached around a bit too far.
But he's really making it extremely exciting here for all of us. I mean, he already let go of the first top of the first boulder, yeah, of the top hold of the first boulder, if you think back to a couple of minutes before, and now he dropped the top hold of boulder number 4. I hope he'll be able to hold this top hold. He has 1 minute and 15 seconds left on the clock. Tries to calm down now by brushing the hold, but this guy knows what it's about for sure. Oh. My nerves are... Come on, Georg. Okay.
What a result this would be. It would be the biggest result of his career so far if he could find a way. He finished ahead of Jakob Schubert and Sascha Lehmann.
2 World Cup winners.
Result.
I mean...
So Georg Palmer now, he's got loads of time. He'll get himself pressed in securely. Don't make the same mistake again of getting out away from the wall. You
He
need
already
to creep out.
dropped the hold once. Don't drop the top another time, and he doesn't!
He doesn't drop it. Georg Palmer makes it 3 tops. Nobody's going to catch him. He's going to win the second of the Austrian Climbing Series, Summer Series events here. What a performance. That top of number 1 set him up. Let's have another look.
Job.
Crept out with the right hand, looked so nervous to commit, and I can understand why, but once he had that sweet spot, he wasn't letting go, and that is the win.
Yeah, and of course he knew what it was about. I mean, but he looked a little bit nervous on these first couple of tries, but held it together and definitely wins this round.
So it'll come down to attempts. Actually, the best Jakob can do now is 3rd, and needs to do it quickly.
He has 1 attempt.
Yes.
He needs to flash this boulder in order to be... No, he has 2 attempts,
Yeah,
excuse
actually,
me, 2
because it would
attempts.
go back to the...
My bad,
the last
I
one,
am
but yeah,
sorry,
2
he
attempts.
has 2 attempts.
But this is to collect another medal. Presumably there's still some space in the Schubert trophy cabinet. It won't be gold this time.
Come on, Jakob. Of course, he's looking for a flash here. He looked very strong throughout the round. Couldn't quite climb boulder number 3.
Absolutely cruises the lower section of boulder 4 though. And
yeah, no hesitation there from Jakob Schubert.
Got a little battle on his hands now, but no problem at all for Jakob. He'll match, and that will be a top, and that will be another medal for Jakob Schubert. It's not the colour he wants, but third place. It is Georg Palmer who wins. Amazing performance, set it all up on number 1.
Yeah, definitely the dark house tonight. He, Jakob Schubert placed 3rd, and Sascha Lehmann in 2nd position.
We will have a flower ceremony, a kind of mini podium ceremony for you before we disappear. And we'll also have interview with the winner, Georg Palmer, for the German speaker.
Yeah,
so I think we might have just got cut off briefly there. We'll quickly see the podium. Georg Palmer looks like he can't get on there fast enough. Jakob Schubert, not his first time on a podium, unlikely to be his last, as I said. Not the colour of medal that he normally likes to collect, but it is another one for the trophy cabinet. A win and a 3rd place, not a bad start to his competition series this year, in this disrupted year. And Sascha Lehmann, after missing the podium last week, he makes amends this time. The only climber with 4 zones in the final. Came close on all the boulders, but only managed to top 2, hence him being in 2nd place. Only one man managed to top 3 of them.
Yeah, the man of the day is definitely Georg Palmer. Huge smile on his face.
Huge result for him. As I said, the biggest result of his career so far. Collects the flowers, collects the winners. Check. Amazing performance. 3 tops. Nobody else can match him. It didn't come down to attempts, didn't come down to zones. Just came down to tops. He got the job done on boulder 1. And that, in the end, was crucial. Good evening and welcome back to Innsbruck. It's just gone 8:30 in the evening and the women's final about to get underway here. The 2nd round of the Austria Climbing Summer Series, and it is the women's final. We had the men's final earlier on, and before that we had both the women's and the men's semi-finals. Been a full day of competition, or in our case, talking about competition. Equally tiring, I should add, as competing itself. Charlie Bosco here and Anna Sturr alongside me, as she has been all day and was all of Thursday. Deserves a medal just for that. And Sandra Lettner, the first climber out in this women's final. 6 women through, standard World Cup protocol, so 4 minutes flat for each climber to attempt each boulder. And after Sandra Lettner, there'll be Jessie Pilz, Eva Maria Hammelmuller, Lucia Dorfel, last week's winner Johanna Ferber, and then Petra Klingler. Johanna Ferber and Petra Klingler tied in the qualifiers and tied it again in the semi-final. Just something to keep an eye on. But Sandra Lettner, the Youth Olympic champion, it's got a nice ring to it, out first. Had 1 attempt already at this boulder.
Yeah, hello everybody. Also from my side, welcome back to the Austria Climbing Summer Series Part 2, women's final. And Sandra is our first woman out on boulder number 1. Tricky boulder.
Yeah, it's a rollover really. Roll out to the right, get the feet out, work the hand up. Women's 2, by the way, is the slab over to the right. So they can save a little. They can give this boulder everything they've got really, because obviously they'll have a rest while the other 5 climbers climb, and then they've got a relatively unphysical boulder after this one.
Yeah, and Sandra is struggling with the first part of this boulder problem so far. Of course, she is used to climbing in finals. She is a youth world and youth European champion, as well as the only gold medalist at the Youth Olympic Games in 2018. So she knows what it feels like to climb 3 rounds. Not all climbers are used to that, and it definitely requires a lot of power, a lot of strength. and you have to be very much in shape to climb 3 rounds. And Sandra managed to grab the zone now. She has to move her foot up left. Come on, Sandra. Yeah, looking really strong
pretty
now.
Good from Sandra now. Not an easy move to the top, actually. You're kind of off balance when you get the top. What you can do is just grab the left-hand hold and then just lean a finger over. Sandra just never quite looked like she could get comfortable up there.
Oh, and if any one of you were watching the semifinals of the women's, yeah, it really reminds me of the boulder #1 in the women's semifinal, because the top hold was very similar. She manages to grab the top with one hand, but can't quite match it. Maybe she would have to put her right foot up. We will see.
A relatively easy set for the women in the semi-final, actually. We had 2 climbers, Julia Fischer and Lea Kempf. Shout out to them. They got 4 tops in the semi-final, but attempts kept them out of the final. It was a bit of an easy set for the women. It's actually very entertaining to watch, but I think the route setters probably turned the difficulty up a little bit for this final. And Sandra struggling to repeat her heroics on the jump and is out of time. Does come off the boulder with a zone though. Jessie Pilz will be next out, the 2-time lead World Cup winner and 1-time lead world champion. Had a great run of making podiums in Boulder World Cups last year. Very much an all-round athlete, qualified for the Olympics as well. Here she comes.
Yeah, there's Jessie with her own brush. One of the requirements during Corona times. Every athlete has to use his or her own brush, or one brush is handed to them rather. Of course, another restriction is that we don't have any crowd here in Innsbruck. Usually, if you think back to the World Championship, or if Jessie thinks back to her World Championship in 2018, which she won in lead, there was a huge crowd, and now she's looking at empty seats. But of course, there's a commentator, there's music, there are lights, so on the screen it looks like a normal World Cup.
So she's already had a look at these start moves, Jessie. As I say, a bit of an awkward start. She's got to be super accurate with both the hand and then keep the feet moving. You see Jessie stalled slightly there, just slowed down midway through the movement. Not enough momentum.
Yeah, she does have the right method though. I think that is the way to go, at least that's what the route setters told me. Route setting team around Martin Hammerer, Andi Matuszka, Jörg Verhoeven and Flo Monig. These 4 men set the boulders here tonight. Come on, Jessie. Yes.
And this time she does it. Left shoulder took some punishment.
Sticks the zone.
Yeah, still going up to the zone. And again, no gimmies. We saw Sandra Lettner touch the top hold with one hand, really hold it actually, but couldn't get the other one to join it. Jessie just cleverly swaps the right hand round actually. Goes up to the top hold, trying to figure out how to do this in balance. It looks from this angle like you could get your knee on the zone, but actually it wouldn't really work.
But that is the method that the route setters told me, trying to get a toe hook on the right hand volume while grabbing the top hold is apparently the method to go. But as we all know, there are always various ways to solve a boulder problem, and Jessie tried the right version. Did not quite work out.
So both climbers so far have touched the top hold. More than touched it, grabbed it.
Yeah, it's a really tricky top again. You gotta be, yeah, it'll be hard to secure this top hold with both hands. I'm curious to see what method she's opting for right now in this try. Yeah, does the first part nicely. Come on, Jessie.
Really uncomfortable first move, but then real change of style here. Now then, swaps the right hand again, just to keep her steady through the movement.
Come on, Jessie. Ah!
And she just can't find a way of staying still. As soon as you begin to move left, it's pretty hard to stay on.
Definitely not a good top hold here. And if Jessie can't hold on, then that just means that it's a very difficult boulder.
She seems to have this lower move sorted now, so should be through that again, unless she's getting fatigued, which I think she might be.
Yeah, she didn't have a lot of rest now. Come on, Jessie. Yeah, with 15
Going to have to climb it pretty quickly at this rate, and she's
seconds on
well
the top.
short. But of course, if she doesn't top the boulder, the attempts don't count, if you like. So you might as well go for it. But yeah, I think that a couple of goes before this one was probably the best one.
I think that was her closest go. She's trying to hold that top hold, but can't quite manage it.
Now is Eva Maria Hammelmüller, who was one of the stories of last week. Top in the qualifying round, top in the semi-final round, almost won the final, ended up second. But a real breakout performance from her.
Yeah, Eva is part of the youth Austria climbing team. She placed 5th at the Youth World Championship in the combined ranking in Anarco, and 14th at the European Championship in Zakopane in bouldering, both last year. She podiumed in both lead and boulder in the European Youth Cups, and placed 7th at Studio Block this year, the only competition, the only international competition that took place so far in 2020. And of course, I think she's not used to the role of being the favorite yet. It's quite tricky for her because she managed to grab the silver medal last week, excuse me. And now, of course, she is under a certain pressure to repeat it.
Yeah, it seems like she can't get the swing going fast enough. The left hand lands and then the legs are a little too slow to follow.
Yeah, it's tricky to get that right foot over in time before your left hand lets go. Come on, Eva.
Eva, let's go.
Yeah, can't quite find the coordination and the timing on this move. Up next, by the way, will be Lucia Dörfel, who was 3rd in that combined final in Arco that we just mentioned, and then Johanna Ferber, last week's winner, and then 2016 world champion Petra Klingler. So they're the 3 climbers still to come.
Ale Eva.
That was a bit closer.
Yeah, that was her best go so far. I think she has a hard time not rushing it. It seems as if she wants to get back into the boulder right away. Sometimes it's good to take a step back, as she's doing right now. Yeah, before trying another time.
We didn't have the same angle, but that looked closer again.
Yeah, she climbed excellently last week, and I'm sure that she can do this move. It's just a question whether she can do it in 5 minutes.
Oh, trying something a bit different. We're about to hear the buzzer to say that there's 1 minute left. There it is, so time running a little low for her. Likes this foot back method.
Yeah, and sometimes it is good to try a different method. In bouldering, there are always multiple ways to solve a boulder. But I'm not 100% convinced if that's the right way.
No, she's sticking with it.
But please prove me wrong, Eva, come on.
The 2 climbers before her had a really good look at the top without actually managing to top the boulder.
Come on,
Here she
Eva.
goes again. Yeah, she really likes that method. Sadly, 15 seconds to go. I think she's only going for the zone if she's going for anything here. And just does not get on with the start of that one at all. Lucia Dörfel out next of Germany, the only German representative in the final. Petra Klingler, the sole Swiss climber as well, back in the final for the second week running.
Lucia placed 8th in last week's event. So she's back in Innsbruck for a second time. And she's the German lead champion from last year. Lucia already has some World Cup experience. She started 7 times at a World Cup so far. No final though. So she's also, like Eva, used to finals in the youth category, but not so much in the adult category yet.
She's actually the only one of the 6 climbers who wasn't in the final last week. It was Mattea Puzzi in her place, in place of Lucia Dörfel last week. The other 5 climbers are in their second final in the space of a week.
Yeah, so they're quite consistent.
Impressively consistent.
Of course, a final performance also gives you a confidence boost, which is
well, it feels like we see that quite a lot in the World Cups, where people make a final and then they make all the finals. Did you find that when you broke a barrier, you make a final, podium, win, you then expected it?
To a certain degree, although I would say that the second win is almost the hardest, because if you win once, you might be surprised, but then winning a second time is pretty tough. Yeah, and then once you're on a roll, sometimes if it rolls, it can actually roll. We'll see if it will roll for Lucia tonight. She's taking a look at the boulder.
That's where she's going. You can see the little black blocker on the right. Just prevents the hold being as good as you want it to be.
It's not a bad hold, but remember, there are no feet. You have to swing without a foot to the right-hand side onto the right volume. So even if it's a good hold, it's not as excellent if you don't have any feet. Or footholds. Of course you have feet. My bad.
You can see what she's up against. You can see your hand just wants to drop onto the sweet spot of the hole, but that black blocker doing its job a little bit too well. She just can't get the coordination right. Look at her fingertips. Skin likely to be an issue by this stage. Good conditions in here though, it's chilly. Most people sitting in here with a jacket on. Big change from last week.
Yeah, especially now the women are climbing later on, so now the conditions are definitely better. Yeah, Lucia is having a hard time, just like Eva before her. Both of these women are struggling with this first move, or first couple of moves. But we believe in you, Lucia. You can definitely do it.
Yeah, she's really struggling with her skin, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you have to imagine climbing 3 rounds, 5 boulders in qualification, 4 boulders in semifinals, 4 boulders in finals, and all these holds are brand new. They're only tested by the route setters, obviously. They test the boulders. Yeah, but other than that, nobody's used them before, so they are very rough on your skin.
And that is time up for Lucia Dörfel. Johanna Faber out next. She's got a title to defend, last week's winner.
And of course, Johanna knows that nobody has topped the boulder so far. As you can see, 1 zone from Jessica Pilz in 3 attempts, 1 zone from Sandra Lettner in 4 attempts, and neither Lucia nor Eva Maria Hammermüller managed to validate the zone hold.
I've got to say, in the semi-final, Johanna Faber and Petra Klingler looked a little level above everyone else. They looked super strong. Both of them flashed all 4 boulders in the semi-finals, got them done first time. And as I say, Johanna won last week. Petra was on the podium last week, and they looked like they meant business in the semi-final.
Yeah, and for Johanna, last week's win for Johanna was definitely a boost in confidence. Maybe that's why she looked so strong in today's semi-final. I'm looking forward to see her performance tonight, and I am very curious if we will see the first top on boulder number 1.
So she pulls on and has a first look at that move.
Wow, but you can see that that's no joke. And I mean, we saw both Sandra and Jessie climbing almost to the top, did not quite make it. So this boulder is definitely really, really hard. Come on, Johanna.
Did it in a completely different cadence to the other climbers. Almost stopped before them moving the feet. But this looks really promising for Johanna Faber, and it would put Petra Klingler under real pressure if she could walk back behind the stage with the top in the bag, like Jessie. Gets the hand swap right. Now tries to go for the top and latches it. Johanna Faber, I said she looked a level above the competition along with Petra Klingler in the semi-final, and she has brought that form to the final.
And this just gave me goosebumps, I have to admit. Wow, that was a really good top by Johanna Faber. And look at this crux move. Sticking the top hold is the crux, and she manages super nicely. There's the smile of Johanna Faber. Wow, now I'm excited to see our next competitor.
Well, Petra's under a little bit of pressure now.
Although if she flashes it, that would put her at the top.
As I say, her and Johanna tied in both rounds. They even not only tied on numbers, but also took the same number of attempts on each boulder in the qualified. Very rare you see a tie all the way through the competition. Petra could separate herself from Johanna here, but only if she flashes the boulder.
Come on,
certainly
Petra.
capable of doing it, but this first jump move seems to take a bit of figuring out. Yeah, so she's not going to flash it.
Just like Johanna has a hard time on this first move. Not only Johanna, but
Johanna seems to learn incredibly quickly, though.
Yeah,
she
that's
did it
right.
once and then
tried
knew
it
how
once,
to do it.
and I mean, she could have fallen off, I guess. It was on the limit, but it is often, and we'll see if Petra manages to do this move now on her second attempt. No, she falls off.
So she's not going to be leading after this boulder, no matter what she does.
And now she does take a step back. Our bouldering world champion from Paris 2016. She has won 1 World Cup in her career and the World Championship. The Bouldering World Cup was in Hayang in 2015. And
there she goes, she's got it this time. So this is attempt number 3 for Petra. Heading up to the zone. Just trying to figure out what order to move in. She's got it right so far. Out with the left, then hand swap with the right, or will she bother? Yes, she will. Hard to imagine doing it without the hand swap. Now just needs to get solid on this top hold. That right foot doesn't look amazing.
Oh,
but it's good enough.
Nice job. That's
Great
the
work,
infectious
Petra.
smile that we know from Petra Klingler. 1 top in 3 attempts. So very close battle as of now. But you could you could really see that the top hold is not a very good hold. She had she was struggling to match it. Got herself just in the right position, and
she daren't look at the judge while she was matching. She just held the position. So that's how they stand. Johanna Faber and Petra Klingler finally separated, but only by 1 attempt. Sandra Lettner now makes her way over to the right-hand side of the stage for the slab. Every round's had 1 slab in it, and the routes that seem to put a slightly more technical boulder, albeit not a slab, just to the left of the slab, like we've just seen. but this is the only pure slab. I'm told they don't think this one is super hard, but how
but
they
of course
read
that's
things.
what the route setters say. And
Well,
if you hear
it,
the
yeah.
names of the route setters, these men can climb very hard. So yeah, I'm not really sure what it means if they say it's not the hardest slab. And as a route setter, of course, you have a lot of time to try these boulders. And even if they're not as hard in difficulty, you have to imagine climbing these boulders in 5 minutes. I mean, you come out in 4 minutes, of course. In finals, you have 1 minute of observation.
Yeah.
So that's 5 minutes in total. But yeah, you have to imagine coming out, discussing the boulders, and then trying to actually climb in it 4 minutes. So even if these boulders aren't extremely hard difficulty-wise, it's a lot about tactics, strategy, a mental game, so many issues that come into play in bouldering comps.
So Sandra, not had any trouble getting into the start position. It is the best way apparently to kind of run into it. And then looking to go out with the left hand. Another awkward fall. We mentioned it earlier, we're in the athletics hall, and just behind that black curtain is the long jump sand pit, so there is another soft landing waiting if you go all the way over to the right.
Yeah, the athletics hall is just behind the Kletterzentrum in Innsbruck. And yeah, the climbers are on the wall of the World Championship from 2018. That's when the competition took place in the Olympic Stadium here in Innsbruck. Now, as Charlie said, we're in the athletic hall.
Yeah, we're right. We're at the Sillside complex, right next to the River Sill. I remember when I first came to Innsbruck, I was always getting lost because I didn't know there was 2 rivers. You're always thinking, why there should not be a river here.
That's confusing, yeah.
Get Google Maps out. Ah, there's 2. That makes sense. There's the River Inn and the River Sill.
Yep, exactly.
Sandra so far has slipped. Her feet have just gone pretty, seemingly unexpectedly every time.
Claims the zone now, and that's a huge split out left. This looks really promising.
Yeah, extraordinary flexibility from Sandra Lettner. Now needs some flexibility in the shoulders so that she can leave her over her right arm. Amazing to get her foot up like that.
And I believe that was the 1 minute beep. Yeah, 50 seconds to go. Sandra still brushes the holds, which is always important on a slab. You don't want any excess chalk on neither hands nor feet, or handhold or foothold. With 40 seconds left on the clock, she should definitely be able to top the boulder in time. Come on, Sandra.
Now, the method she used was quite incredible. Got the left foot up from there, but that is not going to be enough. But she gets on the board. That's a second zone on the 2 boulders for Sandra Lettner.
Yeah, that was a really strong performance here from Sandra. But then her foot slipped as she wanted to press over this left foothold.
So Jessie Pilz, you can see down there, picked up the zone on her 3rd attempt on boulder 1. About to get on with things.
Yeah, now Jessie can take revenge on the slabs. She didn't quite enjoy the slabs in last week's round or this week's round so far. But I know that she's capable of climbing it. Come on, Jessie. Yeah, she prefers the powerful boulders to these technical slabs. Her first World Cup start was back in 2012, so she's been on the circuit for quite some time.
Amazing to think she's been around 8 years now, Jessie.
Yeah. Only 23 years old.
And again, didn't realize when she was about to fall. I'll be happy if no one injures themselves on this, because everyone seems to be falling when they're not expecting it.
Yep, that's true, but there are no sharp angles on these volumes at least, so I think they should be fine. Come on, Jessie.
You can see how bad the angle is for the feet.
Yeah, there's not really much you can stand on actually. Jessie uses a very soft shoe to stand on these volumes.
Time ticks away quickly on these slabs. That's half of it gone already. So here she goes. Don't know what method she'll employ. She's trying to crimp the top of that volume. Again, these are dual texture, so the wooden looking bit is useless and the white bit is high friction, but Jessie just trying to actually get hold of the top of the volume. The route setters are pretty careful to get them drilled tight to the wall so that climbers can't do that. I wouldn't imagine there's much there to hold on to.
No, that's definitely not the way to go. I mean, Jessie, of course, is really strong in crimping hard, but the easier way would definitely be to hold this strange undercling or to stem into it, because you're not really holding on to anything. And she's trying to grab whatever she can.
Beep for 1 minute to go. No progress yet. Eva Maria Hammelmuller out next. Jessie got just under a minute to do something about this. Top footholds causing all sorts of problems.
Yeah, she really does not enjoy that first part of the boulder. One last go as time is ticking, 25 seconds left on the clock.
And I think she's had enough actually, Jessie. Yeah, doesn't fancy another go at that.
Yeah,
so,
of course she'll be disappointed.
Yeah, that's one zone from the first two boulders for her. And Eva Maria Hammelmuller out next. Looks ready to get on with it.
Yeah, she definitely looks ready and psyched. Eva is a true competitor. When you say the word competition, Eva seems to be ready. She's been looking forward to this Austrian Climbing Summer Series. Although she spent a lot of time climbing outside while the gyms were closed.
Again, trying to find something on the top of that volume. No problem up to the zone, and she should be awarded that because she is moving off it. She should definitely be awarded it now. Again, incredible flexibility. She can't, can she? Got herself in position here, Eva Maria Hammelmuller.
Yeah, now
just
she
trying
needs
to figure out how to use this.
Right, because again, there's nothing to hold on to, nothing to crimp. She needs to get her right foot where her right hand is. That would be the ideal spot to have a solid position. Wow, but she's been crimping in Ötztal and she crimps down that dual texture volume. Wow.
Well, that is not how you're supposed to do it, but who cares as long as you get the top. Eva Maria Hammelmuller strolls up the slab.
And I think that was a flash from Eva.
Yeah, first go.
But I mean, yeah, she has been climbing a lot in Ötztal, which is just over an hour from Innsbruck. She lives in Innsbruck, and she crimps that dual texture volume. Wow, that was a strong performance from Eva Maria Hammelmuller.
Lucia Dörfel now of Germany knowing full well that the boulder has been topped. The German team now make their way over to this part of the arena. I'm not sure they're supposed to do that, but hey ho, as long as they stay a few meters apart, I'm sure no one will mind too much. You're supposed to stay in your seat here. All the seats have got names on.
Yep.
Anyway,
But of course, there are only 3 team members from Team Germany. They're having a safe distance between them. So I
they're
guess
okay.
it is okay for the officials.
Doesn't quite
Some strange requirements during these times. There's no crowd. The officials are wearing masks. But we're happy to have this Austrian Climbing Summer Series with German and Swiss athletes as well as Austrian athletes.
So Lucia Dürfel had a bit of a false start, and again, everyone seems to have been doing a lot of stretching.
Yeah, excuse my wow, but she's a smaller climber and she has no problem at all bringing her foot up high. I'd be struggling big time. But now she's trying to match that hold, and she is bringing the right foot up. Yes, nice job, and a flash.
Would have been a flash. She actually had one attempt at the start.
Oh, excuse me, second attempt.
Yeah, barely got off the ground on the first attempt. First real attempt, we could call it.
Okay, I missed that. I am so sorry.
Sadly for the scores, it is 2 attempts, but it was the first time she actually got started.
Yeah, but I think she's still happy with this try. Shakes her head for a little bit, but I think she can be satisfied. Good job to Lucia Dürfel on this tricky slab, which moved her into the 3rd position.
The 3rd spot, and Johanna Ferber back out. First boulder topped on her 2nd attempt. This one has been flashed. Eva Maria Hammelmuller flashed it.
Yeah, and Johanna usually enjoys climbing on slabs, so she should be able to top this boulder.
What a story it would be if she could win both rounds of this summer series.
But
with the strength of the competition.
3 boulders yet to be completed by Johanna Ferber. Of course, it would be incredible. Let's see. I know some women who would have something against that. Come on, you. Show us your slab skills. She climbs a lot at Blockhaus, which is a climbing gym in Graz. That's where she lives. She also sets routes, actually. So maybe she knows what the route setters were thinking, as she's a route setter herself, and no problem with the flexibility there. Wow. Come on, flash it, Johanna.
Could be the first flash of this boulder.
Yeah.
It's been topped twice already. And it is a flash. Sorry, 2nd flash of the boulder. Getting carried away with myself again. We were live. We started our live stream 12 hours ago. You got to cut me some slack.
Yeah, apologies if we get things mixed up. Beautifully climbed by Johanna Ferber.
Yeah, we can agree on that.
Oh, and she is really putting pressure on Petra Klingler.
Well, it also means that Petra can't catch her now on this boulder, so she will. Johanna Ferber will lead going on to the final 2 boulders.
Yeah, and of course Petra knows that nobody has won a comp yet on the 2nd boulder, but it will be important if it comes down to attempts in the end. It will be important to do this boulder quickly, and she knows, of course, that she can flash this one as well. If the others can, she can. She's the world champion.
So every micro movement crucial here for Petra. Gets safely established on the zone. Oh, and slips, so it will not be a flash. She's going to drop a little bit further behind Johanna Ferber, even if she gets this done.
And sometimes it is easier to be the one who can put pressure on the next athlete. It's a little bit harder in Petra's situation because she has to follow suit. And yeah, right now it's Johanna who's putting pressure on Petra, and she's doing it successfully so far. Second try on the slab for Petra.
Yes, she does back her flexibility. It's just a little bit short, just has to readjust, but gets herself in position eventually.
Come on, Petra. I'd be so interested in seeing the men trying this final slab of the women,
yeah.
because these women have a lot of flexibility skills. I mean, this is very impressive what they're showing here right now. It doesn't quite go her way yet. That's of course disappointing for Petra. One hand on the top. She makes it really exciting for us though.
Yeah, you can see never quite look comfortable in that position going for the top. 3 climbers already topped this, flashed by Johanna Faber, flashed by Eva Maria Hammermuller, topped by Lucia Dorfel. Petra Klingler as yet not found a top.
But easily moves her foot up.
Johanna Faber, the only climber so far who's topped both of the first 2 boulders. Could Petra join her? She's going to try and squeeze it again.
Whoa.
And for the second boulder running, she finds a way.
Yeah, shakes her head because of course she knows that she spent some crucial attempts on this slab, 3 attempts that is.
Still
Boy,
can't
she
quite
pinches that
believe.
dual texture volume.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how that's possible, but she did it. So on to boulder 3, over on the far left of the stage. Very, very physical boulder, this one.
Yeah, the results just show that 2 women, Johanna and Petra, have 2 boulders.
As I say, they looked just that step above in the semi-final, and it's looked that way in the final as well. Good old wrestle on boulder 3 here. Sandra just going for a tiny little screw on hole, which hopefully we'll get a close-up of a bit later on. The foot just slips at the crucial moment.
Yeah, that's a very steep part of this World Championship wall of Innsbruck 2018. It's a powerful boulder that Sandra is trying to solve right now. She just finished school a couple of weeks earlier. Of course, didn't have as much time for training, but managed to climb into the second final of this second round of the Austrian Climbing Summer Series.
So there we can see, it's quite an unusual one actually, because you start with your hands with the hold you're not allowed to grab at the start, in between the 2 starting holds. And just cut, yeah, as soon as the feet cut loose, that's a pretty hard position to hang on to.
Yeah, uses a toe hook here. Will she try to get straight to the shoulder? No, she tries to go out right.
Yeah, and you got to
With her
decide
feet.
what to do quickly with those feet. Just get tired quickly.
Whoa. Just barely hangs on to that crimp. Whew.
Now she's up to the zone. You can see the top beckoning. There's still a move to do, then you get yourself in position. I suspect the first few moves took a lot of energy.
Yeah, definitely. That's the 3rd zone for Sandra in this final round. Of course, we're looking forward to see a top from her. Crimps really hard on her right hand and tries to get over to the crimp, but can't quite grab it. It's a extremely bad crimp, that right hand, before the top hold.
You can see just to the right as well, there's women's 4 on the black and orange volumes. We'll talk more about that when the time comes. For now though, Sandra Lettner has less than a minute left. She's already got the zone. She got the energy. to
One
go
more
for
try.
another go.
Yeah. She's using an E9 chalk bag made by an Italian world champion, Mauro Calibani. But now we'll look if Sandra will get the top on boulder number 3.
Feet come off again. This
Come
move looked like she was at the limit last time. She looked a little more comfortable on it this time. Off to the zone. This was where she fell last time, levering across. And this time she gets the crimp and control. The top beckons for Sandra Lettner, but she can only get there with the left hand, not both. She'll have to wait a little longer for that elusive top.
But not quite. It was a good performance from Sandra. Really strong, just not quite enough for the top hold. 3 zones so far, which puts her in 5th place. It'll be impossible for her to get either 1st or 2nd place. But now we're focused on Jessie, who is also looking for a top. Come on, Jessie. Yeah, that's a good position. Come on, Jessie. That's the way to go.
Goes with the right hand, crosses through with the left, and then you've got to get yourself up so that your head is almost next to the zone.
And she really needs a top. If she wants to be able to get to the podium, come on, Jessie, yep.
Easy top for Jessie Pilz, it's a flash. Looks so strong on that one.
Yeah, now you could see all her power, strength, and experience. She displayed all these aspects now. I think she was quite angry at herself from the first 2 boulders, and now she showed us what it means to climb like Jessie. Good job.
Eva Maria Hammelmüller now already picked up a top, flashed the 2nd boulder. Jessie Pilz moves up from 6th into 3rd in the provisional rankings.
Yeah, 5 climbers now to top at least 1 boulder. So far only Sandra did not quite manage to get a top, and Eva will be looking at her 2nd top now as she managed to climb boulder number 2.
She'd actually move into 1st place if she managed to flash this briefly. Putting flexibility to great use again. Thought about a knee bar maybe, but I think it's a bit too far for that.
Yeah, she's definitely the tallest climber in this round. With Johanna, I mean, Johanna and Eva might be the same height. Not entirely sure. But these 2 are definitely taller than Petra, Lucia, Jessie and Sandra. It might have been a little bit of an advantage on the slab, but now this is a super powerful boulder. And we'll see if Eva will be able to climb this one as well.
Here she goes, no problems.
Beautiful method by Eva.
Yeah,
very
really nice
quick
done.
through that first section. It was definitely the most efficient version I've seen so far.
And it would seem that you want to go to that hold slowly, which you've managed to do. Definitely got to get the feet sorted. You can't go for the top from there. She's just got herself a little bit tied up.
Yeah, she needs to get her foot up before moving over to the crimp maybe, or ideally. Otherwise, it'll be a very long move to get to the top. But I think she realized, and she will try to do that on her next go.
Definitely capable of topping the boulders. You just got her feet in the wrong spot.
With 1 minute 45 on the clock, she has plenty of time to look at the boulder.
Time beginning to tick away though. She's had 2 goes.
Yeah, although Eva is aiming at one more go, and hopefully she'll be able to complete it. Yeah, this method looks extremely sufficient. Very well done. Oh, now she has her foot on the higher volume. Puts it down again. I wonder if that's going to be a good idea. No.
Can't quite figure out what to do with the left hand.
Yeah, and she already had her foot on the higher volume, which is the way to go, but somehow she didn't like that position and moved it further back, or moved it back down again. And now she doesn't have a lot of time to rest because there are only 30 seconds left on the clock. Come on now, Eva. This time it really counts. Will she move her foot up? She tries to. Come on, Eva. Yep, that's the way to go. Now grab the top hold. Yep.
Oh, no.
How many people have dropped a top hold today? But no one, almost no one dropped it with two hands already.
I still don't really know how she fell there. Let's have a look. You can tell she was physically tired. She got it in control, got her feet set up.
Just a little bit too fast, and then the volume is not a jog. I mean, yeah, you can definitely still fall, but she can't quite believe it herself. Too bad for Eva.
Well, you won't get much closer to that without actually doing it. Lucia Dorfel out next now. She got the
right.
Second boulder done on her second go.
She can join Johanna and Petra now, who have both topped 2 boulders. She can be the 3rd woman to do so in this final round.
Jetzt zum Surfen. Den Vorhängen hat sie die Zeiten gelöst. Let's go for another, Lutz.
Come on, Lucia. Yeah, also a really nice method of going to this shoulder move.
It really is a terrible hold, that, but they're making it look pretty good, actually, impressively.
Yeah, they make it look good, that's true. But these are world-class athletes. They know how to climb, that's for sure. Yeah, moves really efficiently through that first part of the boulder. But then trouble from the zone onwards.
Plenty of time left for her to have another go. Boulder's only been topped once by Jessie Pilz, and she absolutely walked up it, to be honest.
Yeah, she really showed us her strength on boulder number 3. Jessie didn't quite manage to climb number 1 and 2.
Lucia pulling on for another go with half 4 minutes remaining. Here she goes into the start position, then bring the left hand across. Squeeze the volumes and able to use that toe catch nicely again.
Yes, does it the same way as Sandra Lettner, just the first climber who was out on boulder number 3. Eva had a faster version, faster way to climb that bottom part.
Now I've got to try and use the foot. Getting a bit frustrated.
Shakes her head.
Yeah.
That triangle is no good at all. And you can't crimp any of it. I mean, it's just a flat triangle.
I've had a few questions, by the way, about what the marks are on the volumes, and that's where the route setters, when they set the boulder, which obviously isn't today, they only put them on the wall today, but they kind of create them earlier in the week and they draw on them and then draw on the wall or the volume underneath, so that when they put the boulders back up, everything lines up, they've got marks waiting for them and you know exactly where the holds go.
Yeah, and it actually functions like a lock. So they put a plus on the volume, and if it's in the right position, then they know that the volume is back in the right position. So it's as if a key is turned into a lock.
They've got very little time to make any changes to these boulders, so they have to set them earlier in the week and then just chuck them on the wall and maybe make a few changes if at all possible, or if required, I should say.
Yeah, women's semi-final was on the easier side, let's say. We had 8 women climb 4 problems. Lea Kempf and
Julia Fischer.
exactly, thank you. Didn't quite make the cut. And Lucia Dörfel didn't make the cut either on problem number 3.
Johanna Faber out now. Really.
And that means that Johanna and Petra, if they are able to climb boulder number 3, that means that they will definitely be in the gold and silver medal spot.
Yeah.
Because only Jessie Pilz managed to climb a boulder, Eva Hammelmüller and Lucia, but they don't have a chance to climb 3 boulders as we're on boulder number 3 already. So if Johanna can climb this boulder, she's definitely number 1 or 2 in this second part of the Austrian Climbing Summer Series. Come on, Johanna.
So Johanna Faber, what a result it'd be if she could find a flash on this boulder. That's where she's going to, up to the zone. Decides to come back down, risky method, but it works.
Needs to match that tiny little crimper. Come on, Johanna.
Are we about to see a flash of this boulder? Is she about to do what Jessie Pilz did and do it first go? Yeah,
wow,
she is.
She's on a roll. Wow.
And that means that the final is in her hands. All she has to do is what Petra does on the final boulder, and she'll win for the second week running.
And now she definitely had some errors in her sequence, but that didn't stop Johanna from flashing boulder number 3. That's a smile. Well done, Johanna. And yeah, Johanna is the worst that can happen to Johanna Faber is that she will place second because she's the only one to top 3 boulders.
So Petra under pressure now. Yeah, as you say, didn't always seem to get the sequence right. But we see with Janja Garnbret, doesn't always do it right, but she usually gets to the top, so.
Yeah, and if you're strong enough, it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's true that you can have some mistakes, but if you have if you're strong enough, you can still make mistakes and flash the boulder nonetheless. But of course, there would have been an easier way. Yeah, and Petra knows now that she really can't waste any attempts. Oh, she's opting for the very hard way. Come on, Petra. This should be her style. It's a powerful boulder. She is a powerful climber. Come on now.
Tricky move now up to this little crimp, but she does it in complete control. If she can get her feet sorted, she should be looking good here, Petra, but she doesn't look like she quite trusts that right foot. They can't figure out what to do with the left.
That's the same position that Eva was in just before, and Johanna was in the position as well. She managed to cross over with the left foot. Eva was not able to get out of this situation. Let's see if Petra will be able to solve it somehow.
That right foot looks like it's just creeping off. She's corrected it now.
Yeah, now she's moving her foot up. But of course that took a lot of power. She's been on the wall for almost 2 minutes already. And that's not quite enough.
Yeah, just ended up in a slightly awkward position. The climbers that have topped it, the tops look quite easy because they've got themselves in a good position. And if you're not in that perfect position, it looks desperate.
And only Jessie and Petra managed, Jessie and Johanna, excuse me, managed to top this boulder so far. And if Petra does not top this boulder, then Johanna is already the winner of tonight's final. But of course, I am definitely counting on Petra. She can do this boulder 100%. But Johanna really puts a lot of pressure on Petra this evening. She needs to calm down and relax a little bit before her final attempt.
I think she might leave it a little bit longer.
Yeah, I reckon she could still start with 40 seconds, but she opts for the safer version. Come on, Petra. We're all behind you.
So under a minute remaining now for Petra, grimacing as she goes up to that terrible little blocked crimp, crosses through to the triangle, the zone, and then levers herself round for that tiny little crimp. If she can just get her feet sorted, which I think she has, she will top the boulder, gets one hand up, gets the other one, and that's 3 tops. So we know that it's going to be between Johanna and Petra for the win.
Yeah, and I have to say that that's really what a world champion looks like. I mean, she knew that she had to top that boulder in order to have a chance of winning tonight's event. Took her time to climb this second attempt, then did everything right. Completely correct sequence. And she is able to top this boulder number 1, which leaves it very exciting for us.
Certainly does. So Johanna and Petra tied all the way through the competition in the qualifying and the semis, the exact same scorecard. It'll come down to those two, as we suspected it might, in the final boulder. Sandra Lettner now, currently down in 6th place, the only climber actually without a top in this evening's final. I think beginning to struggle with her skin, and yeah, another pretty physical boulder.
Yeah, it looks really physical and very hard to grab these holds. As you can see, this is just a tiny little
it's a little crack.
Yep.
It might not even look like it. You maybe can't tell on the camera. There is a gap there. They're not touching those volumes.
Sandra already managed to secure 3 zones in this final round, but she's still missing a top.
I mean, she could still end up on the podium, Sandra Lettner, currently in 6th. It's unlikely, but it is possible. Ah, no problem. It says out to the zone. It's 4 out of 4. Now she's getting herself in position. Just lay back in that left-hand hold. Apparently you can get a little potential finger lock in there, but don't really need it.
She's our Olympic youth champion. Can she show us a top on boulder number 4?
A lot of encouragement from her teammates. Oh, and she's close again.
Oh, she dropped the top on boulder number 3. Now dropped the top on boulder number 4. Ah, that is annoying. I feel you, Sandra. Four zones though for her. Beautiful try and very strong effort. But next try we want to see a top.
Let's see where she went wrong here. She seems to do everything right.
Yeah, somehow just...
Could you maybe flick the left hand to catch you?
Yeah, probably.
It's a lot to ask.
It would definitely help.
Hard to do though, because you've got to get it back into the crack, so if you miss,
yeah, you got to aim just right for it. Yeah, that little screw hold just makes it a little bit harder to actually catch this zone hold. There's the beep for the last minute. One more try from Sandra. Come on. Maybe 2 more tries. Wow, yeah. What a cool move. And then another spectacular jump.
30 seconds to go for Sandra Lettner. This is her go. She won't have time for another. Heads out right. Right hand in position, left hand needs to come over to join it. Now if she could get the left hand swapped over before she went for the top, she'd be looking in good shape. Doesn't need to. Got a little finger lock between those 2 black holes and went up with the right hand and stopped it nicely.
And there's the first top for Sandra Lettner. With 1 top and 3 zones, she will definitely advance on the ranking.
She's up into 3rd place, as you can see, all 4 zones. The only climber so far to get 4 zones, albeit she's the only climber to have attempted Boulder 4. But we know who the top 2 are going to be.
So now that
joining
means,
them.
excuse me, but it means that Jessie has to top this boulder in order to be able to place on the podium. The zone won't be enough for her, since Sandra has 4 zones and Jessie will only be able to get 3 zones. Come on, Jessie.
Jessie looking absolutely in control so far. Creeping out right. Looks completely untroubled up to now.
Yeah, she's the world champion, a World Cup winner, and a World Cup finalist in bouldering, so she can definitely do this boulder. Nice job.
Well, she couldn't find a top on either of the first 2 boulders, but she's flashed number 3 and number 4. Let's have another look. Looked like it was in the balance for a second, and once she stopped the swing, she was away.
This leaves Jessie with 2 tops and 3 zones.
Yeah, so sadly Sandra's stay on the podium was rather brief.
Yep.
Eva Maria Hammelmüller will be out next.
And she has 1 try.
Yeah, basically. So needs to get it done quickly if she wants to take a temporary spot on the podium.
She didn't manage to get the top, the zone or the top on boulder number 1. Climbed boulder number 2 and was very close on boulder 3. Did not quite manage it though. Now she used 1 attempt.
So both climbers out so far have topped the boulder. Gets the timing perfect that time. And these moves haven't proved too difficult. They looked tricky from below with that blocker hole in the zone, but they haven't slowed anyone down really. Chooses a cross through, out with the right hand. This is looking pretty promising.
Come on, Eva. Yeah, that looks solid.
And almost tops. Remember, you got to match with both hands. There it is.
Good work from Eva Maria Hammelmüller on this final boulder. Yeah, she looked in control, but it took her 2 attempts to complete boulder number 4.
Yeah, so that actually cost her a place on the podium for now. She's not going to take another medal after getting one last week, and Lucia Dorfel, the next climber out, and then it's set up rather nicely for the end. Johanna Faber and Petra Klingler, the two climbers gunning for the win, the last two climbers out.
Yeah, now Lucia also needs to make quick work of boulder number 4.
Yeah, I'm just looking actually, she can't get onto the podium sadly.
But she can place 4th.
Yes.
If she flashes it, she will be ahead of Eva, if I am
Yeah, I think so.
correct.
So Jessie Pilz will pick up the bronze medal.
Yeah, and she will only be ahead of Eva if she flashes now, because she had a better ranking from the semifinal. Come on, Lucia. Will it be the 4th place or place over the 5th? All depends on the attempts right now. Come on, Lucia.
Looking really solid. Sandra Lettner's just walked back into the hall and is debriefing all her teammates on what the boulders are like. Looks tired, looks like she's had a hard round. Lucia Dorfel, meanwhile, is one move below the top. This boulder not slowed many people down. Sandra took 5 attempts to get it, but everyone else has got it done pretty quickly. And Lucia Dorfel could be about to do the same.
Come on, Lucia. This is her flash attempt. And, oh, she lets go off the top. That's too bad. Oh, and she shakes her head in disbelief, of course. Which means that Eva Maria Hammermüller will be staying in 4th place. Ah, that was a bummer right now.
Quite a shallow pocket, actually. I've been surprised how easy people have made that look.
Yeah, that's true. As you can see, all the officials are wearing masks. Yeah, one of the requirements or restrictions, the safety restrictions that are put in place for this Austrian Climbing Summer Series. Lucia has about 2 minutes, 1 minute 50 left on the clock.
Just chalk it up, look, thinking about another go. This is sadly for her only for 5th place. It stayed quite open this final, but not getting number 3 done proved very costly. The 3 climbers who will end up on the podium are the 3 that got number 3 done, if that makes sense.
Yeah, Lucia still needs to top it if she wants to advance from 6th place to 5th place. So it's a battle between her and Sandra Lettner at the moment. Sandra has topped 1 boulder, Sophia has topped 1, but she needs to top a 2nd one in order to advance in the ranking.
Just trying to find a sweet spot on that hold. I'm not sure there is one, to be honest. And now kind of finger locking with the left hand. Sees the top hold, here she goes. And it's the same outcome, rotates off it. And I wonder whether she'll bother having another go, actually. I don't know if she's got time.
Oh, she'll definitely have to try her last boulder, Charlie.
All right, why not?
She can't just walk off now.
She just looked fed up.
Yeah, that's true, I mean. But as an athlete, you have to get over that. Come on! Ah! One more try, Lucia. We're here for you. Ah.
Not today, she will end up in 6th place.
Too bad. But this means, since 3 women have climbed boulder number 4, it means that it's a rather easy boulder, which would mean that Johanna has better chances to win this competition, as she is 4 tries ahead of Petra, so she has 4 tries to complete this boulder.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good for Johanna Faber. Lots of people topping it. She's got 4 tries in hand. Be an amazing result. 2 in a row. She won last week as well.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, she looked so strong in this final. If she doesn't feel pressured right now, then I would say that this is her day, but who knows? The mental game is always tricky to predict. So Johanna has some tries. Yeah, one.
Needs one of them.
Yep.
Maybe feeling the pressure a little bit, or maybe she just missed it.
Yeah, maybe it's both. Who knows? She needed 4 tries so far to top the other 3 boulders. Come on, Johanna. Ah.
Surely she's going to get
But
it
she
done.
makes it exciting. I'm sweating as I'm sat here in front of the screen. Come on, Johanna. You got this. Ah! Third try.
Needs to make sure she starts correctly as well. Something to keep an eye on. Got to get in a stable position. She's not really doing that, although if the judges say she is, then she is. But
yep.
it doesn't look like it to me, so you want to make sure of these things. You don't want an appeal, that's more like it. Oh, and she
4
just
tries.
can't find a way. This move hasn't.
And this means that she has 8 tries already, so 1 more try. And then this is the last try. If Petra flashes it there again at this, in the same spot. Oh, come on, yo.
This time she gets it.
Come on, yo. You can do it. Hang on there.
Safely into the zone.
Come on,
Matches
Johanna.
that now. She'll head out right into that tapered crack.
This is super exciting right now. Come on, Johanna. Don't make the same mistake as Lucia. Please take your time. Match this black hold.
So crosses through, trying to get herself set up for that final move. Just levers open at the wrong moment, but rescues it.
Alejandra!
Has the top. Now it's done. So it is 4 tops for Johanna Färber.
4 tops in 9 tries, that is. And Petra has 3 tops in 8 tries, so Petra has to flash it and they'll win both. If Petra doesn't.
As I'm sure you know, Rule 8.20 Part B, if the climbers are tied in respect to the final round, following countback, the ranking of the competitors is determined by comparing the best results for each competitor, starting with the number of tops attained on the first attempt. So basically, if you've got more flashes, you win,
so
and that would mean that Johanna wins.
Yeah, you're right. You're completely right, Charlie. This just determined our winner. Since Johanna flashed boulder number 2 and 3, she has already won this competition.
Oh, if you get the same score as all the way through in every round and then win because you flash more in the final round, that is about as tight as it gets. But yeah, it comes down to, I was about to say it would come down to, well, it would if Petra does this first go, it still won't be good enough because it comes down to who did the most boulders quickly.
Yeah, this is only since this year, actually. Yep. That's the rule from 2020. We used to have super finals. If you remember, there were a European Championship in Munich, where Janja and Stasha had the super final, or the first super final in Hull in 2009. Let's not go down memory lane. Let's focus on Petra Klingler.
Did you win that one?
Let's focus on Petra's performance. Come on. And maybe I miscalculated, that's possible as well, but I believe that Johanna is our winner.
No, I agree.
Still, we're looking for a flash.
Could she do it, Petra, to tie on score in every round of the competition? Oh, she is not going to tie on score. Johanna's going to win it. Fair and square, Petra Klingler will move 1 step up the podium. She probably wishes she could come back next week because she gets 1 step higher every week. She was bronze medal last week, silver medal this week. Sadly, there is no next week here in Innsbruck. We're back on the 3rd and 6th of August, so with league competitions in Imst. But sadly for Petra, she's not going to leave from her second trip to Innsbruck with a gold medal.
Come on, Petra. And Petra and Johanna really were shining throughout this competition. They both climbed 5 boulders in qualification, 4 boulders in semifinals, and now Johanna climbed 4 in finals. Petra has climbed 3 so far and is looking for a 4th top now in boulder number 4.
So here she goes. She's going really quickly up to the orange hole before the zone. Maybe she just slows that move down a little bit. Might be okay, or just do it quickly, forget that.
But I think she did slow down a little bit, you're right. She did do it a little bit fast on her previous attempts. Come on, Petra.
You can see she's trying to find a way to get the left hand in the zone.
Oh, nice swap there.
That's one way of doing it.
Beautiful display of strength by Petra Klingler. Bouldering world champion from 2016.
1 minute to go for Petra. She could probably have one more attempt if this one doesn't work out, but she looks very solid this time. Just needs to figure out how to use this top pair of holds. You can see the top beckoning.
Ale, come on, Petra, you can definitely do it. Come on, don't let go.
Oh, and she just manages to hang on to it, Petra Klingler. She's climbed every boulder in every round here in Innsbruck over the past couple of days. 5 in the qualifiers, 4 in the semis, 4 in the final. But sadly for Petra, just required a few more attempts to do the final ones than Johanna Faber. Johanna Faber makes it quite incredible. 2 wins in a row, not even the great Jakob Schubert managed that. And the competition, you could argue, even stronger on the women's side than on the men's side. You look at that list of competitors, and to finish ahead of all of them, 2 world champions, youth world and Olympic champion in Sandra Lettner, even Maria Hammelmuller, who's been on exceptional form, Lucia Dörfel, very strong young German, and Johanna Faber's come out on top once again. It's pretty special.
No, she really did a very good job, and there is the 3rd ranked athlete, Jessie Pitts.
Petra went to the step she wanted to get on, but that's not the step she's going to be allowed onto. Jessie Pills picks up another medal for the collection to add to the 2 World Cup wins and the World Championship win as well. 3rd place in part 2 of the
Moves up
Austrian
1
Summer
spot
Series.
from last week's event. So,
As did Petra.
as does Petra, you're right.
So close. Petra Klingler topped every boulder in every round, came down to attempts in the final, couldn't have been much closer, but somebody has to win and somebody has to come second. And Johanna Faber there, looking like the real deal. This will have got the attention of some of the big hitters in the sport. Second week in a row, she wins in Innsbruck. She topped every boulder, flashed them all in the semi-final, flashed 2 in the final. No question she was the best climber. There wasn't much in it between her and Petra, but she came out on top.
Yeah.
And that is it from round 2 of the Austrian Climbing Summer Series, and it's been an absolute pleasure. Good job. Another big day today, but thoroughly enjoyable. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me. I really enjoyed watching the competition.